Okay, everybody, this is Roy Potter again. Yeah, I thought I better do another live one of these because this information is coming so fast, and I've just got tons of things to keep up with on this. And as I told you earlier today in the video just prior to this one, that Mike Adams of Natural News basically told us that he had used some scientific methods to first of all verify that there was a second shooter there in Las Vegas around the 91 Harvest Festival in the Mandalay Bay. And he also was able to pinpoint the possible locations of this second suspect, this second shooter. Now, Sheriff Lombardo just got off a news conference earlier where he says there is only one shooter. His timeline on Campos, the security guard being shot, changed. And Lombardo looks like he's a suspect under bright lights being questioned for, suspicious activity. He looks very nervous. He's not very confident at all. I don't know. He might be trying to send a message. I was hoping he had a change of heart following the deep state and the FBI and this entire nasty thing that's coming down the pikes and has been for years. And for those of you that have followed me on Twitter and the few things I've said on YouTube, you know that I don't trust him. Maybe he's trying to call out for help, but he just needs to do it if that's what he's up to. Tracy Beans, I think that's how you say her name on Twitter, and I think she has a YouTube account too, is saying that she thinks that he's sending out basically calls for help or that he's trying to show that he's being manipulated somehow. I'm not certain that's true. I would hope so, just for his own soul's sake. Somebody's asking me questions here. I'm not sure what's going on. I guess somebody's having a problem watching it. I'm not sure why. I hope everybody's getting this. It might be my signal. I'm in a spot right now where I may not have a good signal, but I'll just keep going on with this. Okay, tell me if anybody isn't getting it, just let me know. I do have my glasses on this time, so I can read your messages as they come in. And I'm sorry if the spot we're in is not giving us a good signal. But I am going to put all this together and do a YouTube video here in the next few days about all of this information so that you'll have a little better idea of where we really are. So anyway, getting back to Mike here again, this is Mike Adams of Natural News. You can see there the name of it is Forensic Acoustic Proof of Second Shooter in the Las Vegas Massacre. And I don't know if you can see right there, there's the address there. All right. So hopefully everybody can see that. Again, let me know if you're not seeing it, and I'll just start talking here. Okay, so as I was saying, after I listened to many of those Vegas cell phone videos, the cabbie driver and so many of the others, it was obvious to me and anybody else who has been around a lot of shooting that there was another weapon being fired. And one of the weapons was obviously coming from the location of the Mandalay Bay, and the other one from a further distance. And it was really hard to say from what distance because, of course, on the videos that we're watching, that's hard to do, but you could hear the sound. So veterans who have been in firefights or been on ranges or done live fire drills or whatever, that kind of thing. Even hunters, maybe not so much hunters because they're out with primarily single shots, certainly not automatic fire of any type. But at any rate, you can hear the differences in the ranges of the weapons, and that's a real key issue on how many weapons are firing at you. And that's the point that I've been making the entire time, that I could tell that there were two weapons involved at the shooting, and that's a minimum, by the way, okay, a minimum of two weapons, two different shooters firing at the Harvest 91 festival. Well, thank goodness for Mike Adams here, because he has now put science to that issue and has verified what I've said and what Craig Sawyer has said, although Craig didn't commit to it completely, but he might be in a slightly different situation there, so I'm not going to say much more about that. Craig Sawyer's who I'm talking about. But there was no question in my mind that there were at least 2 shooters in this. And then in the video earlier today, I showed, where I felt that the second shooter was. Now, he's got the circle here of the possible area where that second shooter could be in. And in some of the reports we heard that there was somebody seen with a weapon or shots coming from the Catholic church that's over here on the northeast corner. Now, I think that's probably not, maybe it was the person that when they were escaping the area, or it could have been a third shooter maybe, but my bet is going to be right where Mike pointed it out in the earlier video, the earlier article that I showed you, which is going to be in this area here, and I'm going to bet at the Oasis Apartments or somewhere in this area here. Why? Because if I were a professional and I knew that and I don't even know it was Paddock, okay, that's still up for grabs. Somebody shooting from Mandalay Bay here, this direction, I'm not going to want to be in this zone. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to want to be there. I'm not even going to want to be here at the Arco or whatever this gas station is here. My bet is that it would be from this position right down here in this lower right-hand corner by those apartments or on the construction mound that used to be there. I don't know if it still is, but at any rate, somewhere in this area here would be my guess as to where that second shooter would be. And it was right along the circle there that he was talking about. So at any rate, this is about a 30-minute video that he has here. I will put the link in the description box below once I get this loaded up and can do my final information on the video that I'm making. Sorry, it goes in and out. That's what happens when you try to use another computer screen. But at any rate, here is the scientific evidence that verifies what I was hearing and what every vet who has ever been around weapons has heard, and that is that there were at least 2 separate weapons being fired. And my ears heard the bump stock weapon from Mandalay Bay and what sounded like to me was a more regular cyclic rate of fire from a selective fire, fully automatic from another location. And that Mike hasn't gotten into that part of this. The important part was showing that there was another shooter at this location. So does anybody have any questions? I think I've about exhausted everything I can do as far as the investigation on this thing now. Outside of the possibility that there may have been other events going on in other places in Vegas, and there is some indication of that, but I'm still waiting for some news on that. But as far as this actual massacre at the Highway 91 Harvest Festival, there's no doubt that there were at least 2 shooters, if not more. This was a military operation, just like I said. And Mike Adams has proven it using forensic analysis here. They call it forensic audio analysis. So I want everybody to see this. All these people out there that are from Paul Watson to whomever is out there that says that this whole thing about a second shooter is nonsense. Well, here's the scientific proof that backs up the ears on all of us vets who know when we're getting shot at from 2 different directions, okay, or 3 or whatever. So, this needs to go out there. Lombardo is either being kept in the dark like supposedly Trump is in the White House, or he's lying, one of the 2. Or covering up because the FBI and the deep state is saying, oh, this is national security, we can't tell anybody this stuff. Well, hogwash. We've had Americans killed here. We've had good people murdered here in mass and injured. And if Lombardo doesn't have the courage to call it and tell it what it is, he never needs to be in office again. He needs to be recalled right now. Will that happen? No, because I think most of the people in Vegas are probably too half drunk half the time to do anything about what's right in the world anymore. Yeah, somebody asked me today why I was getting mad. I very rarely read the comments, but after I put this up, the one on Mike Adams earlier, I thought it might be a good idea to answer a few questions. And one guy asked me, he says, well, I had a guy tell me that, soldiers, they don't show emotion because they have to be able to, act and all that. And I just had to write back and I said, well, you're trained to deal with it, but if you don't think that you're emotional and that there's not fear and other things going on there, there is. And you try not to show your troops when you're out in the field. You try to keep it under control, but I don't have any troops that I have to keep under control here. I can go ahead and let my emotions fly, and I'm going to. This is inexcusable, what the FBI and what Lombardo has allowed to happen here, and whoever else is involved, but certainly those people. And the FBI is running this. There's no question in my mind, as I stated earlier today. Okay, let me see if you guys got any questions. I think it's probably more important that you... No, I don't have any troops. Other than right now, I couldn't lead a squad of mosquitoes, frankly. But at any rate, let's see. Okay, yeah, no more lies. I agree 100%. So, like I said, I've done an awful lot of research. As I said, back a week ago, I on my Twitter account, that I wasn't going to do anything extensive yet because I wanted to make sure that I had as much information that would clarify what happened as possible before I go and put something up. And I will be doing, at least I plan on doing a more comprehensive YouTube video. Yeah, this is not the first time they have done this. Oh yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, and I hope that, as Barry's there saying, this war will not be fought by human hands. I hope that God steps in here pretty close, because these people, I put up a YouTube video a few days ago also about the AI, the artificial intelligence, and that there are now people calling for the worship of that AI as God. Did you see that? That is a fact. That's where that's coming from. I think that the AI is already sentient, and it is getting more powerful every day, and it really is going to take God to fight this, because these people that are in control, knowledge is power, and they're not going to let out what's really going on, and only someone like God who can see. Why was this so sloppy? What, his thing here on the whiteboard? Oh, come on. Are you talking about? I know. Okay, you're talking about the actual. You're talking about the actual incident itself, because they're so sure of themselves. They control the narrative. They control the MSM and all that. Somebody asked if this would affect the Bundy trial. No. Unfortunately, it won't, because nobody has the courage to call this out for what it is. The Bundys were standing up against all of this. That's really what it was about. They were standing up against Harry Reid and Hillary Clinton. And Reid said he was going to send the jackboots after the Bundys for that. The whole thing at the Bundys. The only way this is tied into the Bundys is just showing that the government is... No, I was going to say rogue elements of the government. No. The entire government is rogue. The entire government is not responsive, is not responsible to the American people anymore. It's only for itself. It's turned into an autocratic tyranny, and that's about it. Yeah, they're arrogant. Yeah, just like you said, there's somebody put up there, they're arrogant ducks. I'm saying ducks instead of what he really said, but you'll know what it is he said. So, unfortunately, I don't think this will turn back. Frankly, I've called through my Twitter to President Trump that he needs to pardon those people who are standing up for the Republic. But, he did it for Arpaio. I don't know if he has the courage to do it for anybody else. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now, somebody's saying 3%ers have to unite. No. Be careful here. Okay, you want them to be cleared along with Pete Santilli. Pete Santilli wasn't cleared. There's more behind the scenes on that than I'm willing to tell you on this. I'm just going to say don't believe it the way that it's been broadcast out, what happened there. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but I'll just leave it with that. But I don't think that Trump is going to do the right thing by them. I just don't think he will. Once you get into a political spot, you start thinking like a politician, and you don't think like a human being and a person that's compassionate and full of justice and mercy. So unfortunately, I'm not sure that he's actually going to do the right thing. Okay, let's see. As far again as standing up with the 3%ers, Don't think about going out there and being a militia against this government. You will not succeed. Okay, first of all, it's not wise. We got to fight this war with words, and we're doing a pretty good job, like what we're doing here. Okay, now, well, does that mean that they'll respond to our words in a positive way? Probably not. But we cannot, under any circumstances, start taking this thing into our own hands in a violent way. That's just not going to work. We need a competent authority. I'm going to just use that kind of a word to explain this here. We need a competent authority to get behind, whether that's the president, if he invokes Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, or not, or a local governor or somebody like that. Do not act on your own. Don't think they have weapons out there, ladies and gentlemen, that you think your little pop gun 223 is going to do anything. You got to be kidding me. All right, and you're going to see that if this thing goes hot in North Korea, you're going to see things you've never seen before, and your little pop gun isn't going to do anything about it. So that's not the way to fight this. Okay, it just isn't. Self-defense is one thing. Any kind of aggressive action is really bad. They'll suck you in. These these feds are experts at getting you to walk into an ambush. Okay, that's what they do. Even if your intent. Remember, old FBI Director Comey said he didn't want to, have Clinton indicted because she didn't have any intent to misuse the classified information. When in fact, at that level, the statutes say you don't have to have an intent if you mishandle classified information. The mere mishandling is enough to get you in trouble, to get you charged, arrested, and prosecuted. Well, now, like in this Bundy situation, their intent wasn't to do a crime. Their intent was to have a demonstration. It finally got the BLM to go. Sheriff Gillespie said that the BLM was leaving. The people went over there to get ready for that, and the BLM had set up a military ambush, and I've already talked about that before. They knew that what they were doing, they wanted a massacre back in 2014 to blame conservatives for that, and Second Amendment people, that kind of thing, Christians, etc. But fortunately for us, the First and Second Amendments were being used there, even though people got in trouble for having their weapons there at the standoff at the corrals. But the one courageous deputy, Lieutenant Roberts, stepped in there and saved the day, and he ordered the BLM to leave, and that's really what saved the day there. And I don't know what happened to Sheriff Roberts. I believe he's still on the LVMPD, but I'm sure he's not thought well of by the upper command. I'm pretty sure. Well, as far as the military, having us as the people ask the military to arrest Congress, wow, you're that's getting in an area I'm just not sure about. The DOD, the military, is actually under the power of the president. And although the people should be the fourth branch of government, actually the first branch of government, because the Constitution says we, the people, form the legislative and the executive and the judiciary. So really, we're the first part of the government. But because of all the corruption that's been going on, that's unfortunately just not the way to go about it at this point. It's unwise to try to approach it from that way. It just is. It's better to get yourselves provisioned up locally with the things that you need, with friends that you can trust on, have trust in, that kind of thing. Hi, Pam. I see you came up there. I appreciate you coming on. I'm doing this thing on Mike Adams right now because he's done such a great job, as I've explained to everybody, on proving that us vets who knew that we were hearing at least two different weapons being fired at the same time, which means that there were two separate shooters. Mike Adams has proven it by science. And so, anybody have any other questions here for what if we're not going to fight? Man, I'll tell you what, have you ever been in a firefight, Barry? Have you ever seen people shot? And I don't mean on TV or on the web. Have you ever been in a situation like that? It's nothing like you think. Draw close to God. Yeah, I know, but that's how you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight with the way God tells you to this time, because this thing is way too big to do it like our forefathers did on the fields against the British. It's just not going to work that way this time. It can't. They can destroy everything if they think they're going to lose it, so we really can't do it that way. All right, anybody have any questions here? Let me see. No. We have to go on a general strike. General strike isn't bad, but who are you going to get to go along with it? There's so few people that are really awake and willing to do something like that. Was I an infantry officer? No. I was a military police officer. Of course, I had infantry training. Everybody gets it at the basic level when you're in officer training and when you've been commissioned and you're in basic training, basic officer basic course. But I became a military police officer, and I did military intelligence work. I worked with the infantry. Yeah, sure did. But no, I was not an infantry officer, but I understand the tactics. Let's see. Israel has the Samson option. Yeah, isn't that disgusting? Yeah, same thing like I said. They'll destroy everything rather than lose power. It's really ridiculous. You know, there's no love. You know, the scriptures say that the people that are doing this would have no thought, no affection for the fruit of the womb. You know, even the babies, they wouldn't care, and they've proven that. So let's see. I missed that from something that was said about Congress. Let's see. Hey, Jamie T, this is Roy Potter, a good man. No, there were no belt-fed weapons in Las Vegas. No, they were not. They were bump stock weapons and selective fire. Yeah, there were no belt-fed weapons. I did not hear that. I know some people thought they were hearing it, but that's because the bump-fired weapons, sometimes, well, the way they hesitate at times, it does sound like the belt is slowing down or whatever. But no, that's not what was going on. Okay, let's see. Anything else here? Anybody got a question? Yeah, that's right. Half the people don't work, but they're not going to come out either. Even the ones that are working, they get those free paychecks, and they're not going to come out and get out in the street and tell the government they're doing the wrong thing because the government's feeding them, right? So they're not going to do that. Yeah, it's going to be a remnant. It's always been a remnant. It's always a small group of people. Even in the Revolutionary War, there was only 3 to 6% of the people that stood up. The rest, they may have supported it, behind the scenes or whatever, but they didn't actually get out there and do anything. What's going on with all the militias? Okay, I'm going to answer that one more time. Do not go join a militia. Do not do that. Bad idea. If you want to form a little, community defensive group, that's one thing. Go tell your sheriff or whatever what you're doing, that you're just forming like a neighborhood watch with arms. That's one thing. But to think that you can join a militia is a real dangerous thing at this point. You don't know really who they are. I don't care what they tell you. I wouldn't even join Oath Keepers at this point. And a lot of people are going to be surprised about that, but I have my reasons, and some of the people that are listening to this will know why. But that's why I've been saying that President Trump, if he is true to who he says he is and in the way, his rhetoric, that he should go ahead and activate Article 2, Section 2. And he might still do that yet, but I'm not sure if he will. Let's see. Has there been an acoustic check of how many rounds were fired? Yes, Mike gets into that. That's not the emphasis of his presentation, but he gets into that, yes. And you'll see what he's talking about. He does say that the pictures inside the hotel room are really absent the amount of brass that should be laying around on the floor and some other things. So he's really done a very good job here, okay? Really a very good job. Any other questions? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know I did this around dinner time, but I wanted to get this out. I publicly, again, want to thank Mike Adams here. He brings tears to my eyes that there are men out there that are willing to do this. There are very few that are. And I hope that that we get through this, and that we're gonna lose a lot more people because they want to cause us a lot of grief and murder a lot of us and put us basically in prisons. God help us. But with people like Mike Adams, the Spirit of God is coming out and saying, "Oh no, you will not do this to my people." And I believe that is being poured out on us now. And there are going to be, a third of us that are going to accept this Spirit that God's pouring out and opening our eyes and our hearts and our minds. And there's going to be a third of these people here that will reject that because they hate God. I mean, look at Antifa, look at the left, look at how they respond. All these people that were murdered there in this stadium here in Las Vegas, and so many on the left were clapping and happy that it happened, that those people were murdered. Because why? They were white, or they weren't all white, of course, but that was what the left was saying. They were white, or they're Trump supporters, or whatever. They're Second Amendment advocates. They hate you know, that they talk about hate. They're the ones that exhibit the hate and the murderous spirit, not us, not us. Yeah, no religion with the left. There isn't. It's hedonism. That's all it is. That and Machiavelli. You know, whatever works and ends justifies the means. So yeah. Okay. Anything else here that I should mention? Okay, I'm going to sign off. Go look at this presentation by Mike Adams. It'll take me a few minutes to get the actual link into the description box after this uploads, but then you can view it. You can go to Natural News now. I'm sure it's up posted there because obviously I've got this. All right, God bless everybody. You know, we're into this Red October thing. Keep your eyes and ears open. Those eyes open on the horizon, those ears on the ground, okay? All right, we'll see you later out here.